Opening arguments begin for two Prince George's police officers accused of assaulting a college student 2 years ago. Good evening. This is CTV News for this Monday, October 15th. I'm Patricia VILLONE. Thank you for joining us. Well, as we said, two Prince George's County officers are on trial for assaulting a University of Maryland student after the infamous game in which the Terps beat the Blue Devils in basketball back in 2010. The alleged beating happened as police tried to disperse an unruly crowd. Denise Douglas is at the Upper Marlboro courthouse with the details.
Officers Reginald Baker and James Harrison are charged with misconduct and assault. Their trial is underway here at the courthouse in Upper Marlboro. Now, prosecutors say that they violated the public trust, but their attorneys maintain that the force that they used was necessary. You'll remember that they were caught on cell phone video allegedly beating John McKenna, a college student, after that infamous Maryland-Duke basketball game back in 2010. They and other officers were called out to Route 1 to disperse the crowd that had become very, very rowdy. One of the students who was there and testified today says that the amount of force that the officers used against McKenna seemed to be too much.
I mean, I think it was a classic case of officers breaching the use of force continuum. I mean, an individual skipping up to a horse that is completely nonviolent. I thought it was pretty clear in the video, and that he was skipping, he was singing. There's clearly nothing in his hands. And even though they tried to say he was doing this and that could be a threatening manner, I think that's absolutely, any reasonable person can tell that's absolutely ridiculous.
The trial is expected to wrap up by Thursday or Friday. I'm Denise Douglas, CTV News.
And the officers are on paid administrative leave. A department spokeswoman says their police powers have been suspended. Well, police in Montgomery County arrest an 18-year-old male student in connection with a stabbing at Northwood High School in Silver Spring this morning. Officers responded to the school just after 11 a.m. and found the 15-year-old victim with a puncture wound to the upper leg. He was transported to a local hospital with a minor non-life-threatening injury. Police say the suspect, who initially left campus after the incident, returned to school and was taken into custody by officers. Detectives recovered a knife at the scene and are working to establish a motive in the case. The investigation continues and charges are pending. Well, it's a site of special significance that some say belongs on the National Register of Historic Places. It's known as Salubria, part of an old farm in Oxon Hill that was once the site of a slave rebellion and the home of a man who helped free slaves in Maryland. Earlier this year, the Historic Preservation Commission removed Salubria's historic site designation so that National Harbor developer Milt Peterson could build a discount outlet mall. The move outraged some local activists, and this past summer they got the county zoning hearing examiner to overturn the decision. The developer appealed, and now the issue rests with the county council to decide the outcome. Today, council members heard from both parties.
The county, there hasn't been any significant new retail development in a number of years. We have this site that's very proximate to National Harbor, and so it sort of does at least three different things for the county. Creates a great retail venue that will serve both the citizens of the county, creates additional destination for the folks that already come into National Harbor where they can go to some additional areas, spend some dollars. We think that's great. And third, we're going to end up creating a number of significant jobs there.
The Peterson Company is proposing to devastate the site with a 85-store outlet mall that would better be located in downtown Oxon Hill, in perhaps Rivertown, which the same company owns and needs revitalization desperately. So we would prefer to save the historic site for present and future generations and have revitalization and reinvestment where the infrastructure is already in place to support it.
And the ruling calls into question several levels of development plans approved by the Planning Board for the Tanger Outlet Mall. Council staff has been asked to prepare a document to approve the development with conditions. Council action on the issue is expected by early November. Well, you won't see television ads for ballot question 5, but when Marylanders head to the polls, they'll vote to approve or repeal a new congressional redistricting plan. Every 10 years after a census is taken, boundaries are redrawn to reflect population growth. During the 2011 special session, the General Assembly passed a bill creating a new map for elections to the U.S. House of Representatives. The new districts outraged many who say the gerrymandering diluted minority voting blocks in Montgomery and Prince George's counties. Local leaders speaking out against Question 5 say an independent commission should take over the process.
All of us are here to urge voters to vote against this gerrymander and repeal it. That will not affect the congressional elections that are ongoing now, but it would require the governor and the General Assembly to redraw the boundaries and, hopefully, with enough public pressure, propel them to pass real redistricting reform, including the establishment of an independent redistricting commission.
By reconfiguring District 8 to give District 6 more Democrats, District 8 becomes majority white by going into parts of Frederick and Carroll counties. This is really important because in 2010, during the census count, Montgomery County for the first time became a majority-minority county. By taking District 4 out of Montgomery County, there is virtually, we believe, no possibility of electing a minority candidate at the congressional level in Montgomery County.
Please let the General Assembly know that you are not interested in having and preserving political power for some by sacrificing the interest and the values of the majority of people in this state. And that is so.
And Maryland's congressional delegation, along with Governor O'Malley and heads of the state Senate and House, back the new districts. Senate President Mike Miller says the redrawn maps reflect census growth, statewide public input, and maintain 70% of voters in their existing districts. Well, a woman pulled from her burning Upper Marlboro home on Sunday has died. Officials say the woman was found unconscious when firefighters arrived at her residence in the 12,000 block of Peachleaf Court.
The only thing I know is I was asleep. My husband woke me up and said that there was a fire in the house across the street. I got up and I looked out the window, and it was a lot of fire trucks and people standing out. She was a friendly person. She would speak and she would stop and talk.
Knowing that there is a neighbor here that such a tragedy happened, can you tell us, how you feel?
I'm bothered. I'm hurt. I don't really know what happened. I don't know how it happened, but I'm sorry that it did happen.
And authorities have not yet released the victim's identity. Meanwhile, officials are also investigating 2 separate fires in the county that may have been caused by heating appliances. The first incident happened just before 1 a.m. in the 5200 block of Palco Place in College Park. Officials attribute the fire to the initial use of a home furnace. Later, firefighters battled an apartment blaze in the 3500 block of Wyndham Road. Investigators believe the incident was caused by a space heater. No injuries were reported in either case. And you are watching CTV News. I'm Patricia VILLONE.